A little point to make about the Langmesser. Hey folks, Matt Easton here. So here I have Todd Stuff Langmesser, or Messer as it's commonly called on the internet. In other words, long knife, particularly used in Germany and surrounding areas. And this was carried, it was a relatively common sidearm to be carried, particularly in civilian life, occasionally carried in military life as well. And they came in many sizes and shapes. But a very simple point to make about them is very much that they did come in a variety of sizes and shapes. Therefore, it's quite difficult to generalise when we make generalised statements about what a Langmesser or Messer, what a Messer is capable of, or indeed what a falchion is capable of. As I've talked about in my previous video, really, functionally, in terms of the blade, there's not really very much difference between a Langmesser and a falchion. Some of these Langmessers are big, you even get two-handed versions, the Kriegsmesser or Grossmesser, and you get little ones that are essentially large knives, a bit like a Kaiba knife, or even smaller, and everything in between. And this is the kind of in between. This is the size of a hanger, or indeed roughly the size of a cutlass. So, by and large, the Langmesser it's very difficult to make generalised statements about it. If you see someone saying, oh, the Langmesser can outcut a Type 10 arming sword, for example, or a Type 10 Viking period sword, you have to go, well, first of all, Type 10 Viking period swords are more uniform than Langmessers are. Langmessers or Messers vary a hell of a lot more than Viking era swords do. Not to say that Viking era swords are all the same, of course they're not. They vary in length and grip length, in weight and breadth, everything else, thickness, blade thickness. But I would say that the Langmesser is more varied. It is an incredibly varied sword, and it is a very, very general term. Langmesser purely means big knife. What could big knife mean? Well, it could mean anything from a massive, really big falchion type weapon to a longsword, a single-edged curved longsword type weapon, or indeed to really quite small sidearms. The other thing to mention, of course, is this that I'm holding here is more or less a middle range weapon, but it is particularly broad. Do not think by any means that all Langmessers are this broad. The reason I've got the cutlass out is to illustrate that in fact many Langmessers around that survive historically and that are shown in art actually have blades that are more comparable with a 19th century or 18th century cutlass or hanger or short sabre. Everything between this kind of breadth to this kind of breadth. This is about as wide as they get, I would say. I mean, maybe there were wider ones, but generally speaking, this is about the widest, and this is probably close to the narrowest that you find. And of course, the handling and properties of two different blades like that, whilst if we ignore that this has got a cutlass hilt, if you imagine for a second this has got a Messer hilt on it as well, whilst we could say, both of these are Langmesser, both of them are big knives, are they going to perform the same? Not really, no. This is going to be much more nimble, and it's going to be lighter. It's going to be lighter and quicker. This probably will outcut this, but does that necessarily always matter? This is a topic for a future video. I know you love it when I say that, but just because something can cut more deeply into a very large amount of material doesn't necessarily mean that it's better, that in better terms. If the other weapon is quicker and more nimble, then it might be more likely to actually hit in a real fight. So really, just to finish up, to say that the Langmesser is a very, very varied thing, and they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and really the only thing that unifies them is to be a Langmesser, it has to be single-edged. Okay, so it has to be a single-edged, usually slightly curved, but they can be straight as well, so even that's not universal. So single-edged, curved or straight, of any length, basically, of any breadth, basically, but the hilt is made like a knife. And I know some people debate, is there any difference between a Langmesser and a falchion? Well, fundamentally, yes. The reason it's called a Messer is because it has a knife hilt, i.e. it's made with a full width tang, slab grips, it's made like a knife of the period. So that's really what defines it as a Langmesser. In terms of the blade, yes, it's a type of falchion blade. And in the 15th century, when these, and 15th and 16th century, when these were popular, these types of single-edged blades came in a huge variety of shapes and sizes. Everything from what we would consider a sabre, right the way through to what we would consider something more like a malchus or a falchion. There we go, folks. Cheers. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, follow us on Facebook. You can buy t-shirts through Spreadshirt, support us on Patreon, or follow us on Pinterest. Thank you.